Well, we have something in common here. It's a good thing that we're able to survive and be here to do this show, What's Good, because Joyce, you had a situation. Karen, you had a situation. I had a situation where we really shouldn't be here, but the big guy had other plans.
That's right. The three of us had that situation.
How do you like that for an opening?
Yeah.
Welcome to What's Good with John and Joyce. Subscribe for free on YouTube. Share it with a friend who needs inspiration, which we all do nowadays. And we have a guest who inspired me the first time I met her.
Tell me what's good, tell me what's nice. Keeping it cool, keeping it calm, keeping it light. Time to rejoice. What's good, what's good, what's good with John and Joyce.
I'd like to say a big thank you to all of our sponsors. Woodwinds Wedding and Special Events Venue and Silvio Sauces, thewoodwinds.com. Ascend Bank. They don't just see your accounts, they see your vision and ambitions. Ascend.bank. Super talented lady. Love her joy, love her talent, and she's really overcome adversity. And we really kind of focus on that with this show. So many people overcoming adversity. You think successful people, Joyce, they just pop out of a genie bottle and they're successful. They don't realize that the road to success goes through the dump for all of us, or being thrown out of a car through a windshield. How do you like that for an intro, Karen?
Wow.
Karen Lussier, welcome to What's Good with John and Joyce.
Thank you. Thank you
am
for having me
so
today.
Happy to meet you. I'm meeting you for the first time.
Likewise,
And
yes.
I've heard so much about you through John.
Oh, thank you,
And
John.
Most of it good.
Right? That's
Most
what
of
we
it,
hope
yeah.
for. That's
It's
what
all
we're
good.
hoping for,
Awesome. You are awesome. I was reading Karen's bio, and what don't you do?
Oh, gosh.
You're a singer.
Yeah, that's most,
You help people legally. There's so many things that you do.
And I'm a mom,
And you're a
like
mom,
for so
yes.
many years, being a mother was, my main goal in life, really. But when I was young, my parents really reinforced my art, which was singing. And so since I was a youngster, like at the age of 7, they sent me to Catholic school. And the nuns at the school, chose me, kind of separated me out. And I was able to play Annie as a young child, it was our like Broadway.
Give us a
which
little
was so
tomorrow.
much
Give us a little
fun.
Annie.
Oh,
Go ahead. Come on, Karen.
Tomorrow, I love ya, tomorrow.
I love it. Now, Joyce, it's your turn.
No. I would sound like a donkey trying to sing.
Donkey. Oh, God.
But it's funny, they teach you, they taught you that music could make you happy if you're down, and so it's been a huge part of my life in terms of healing, and also it's the universal language of the world.
It is.
So you can honestly speak to anyone in a different language, anywhere in the world, if you're singing to them, they're engaged. Because it's an art that really touches the heart, I should say.
We
Isn't it
noticed that
funny?
recently with the World Cup.
Yes.
How it brought everybody together, all the different cultures, 48
I
different
loved
teams.
that.
And they were all singing the same songs in all the different stadiums. It was universal.
What a feeling.
What a
huh?
feeling. That's one of the coolest things I think that's happened
Agreed.
in a long time. 'Cause
Absolutely.
we're-
No, absolutely.
It really showed us how much more we're connected than we're not.
Yes. Yeah. So for years, the University of Connecticut wouldn't allow just anyone anyone to come in and sing the national anthem for the sports facility. So I convinced them as a mom living in town that I should be able to at least audition, So anyhow, long story short, they let me sing. And Gamble Pavilion, and I encouraged everyone before the game to sing along with me. Telling everyone, sing it with me, please. Let's have a feeling,
Yes.
And so as I'm in the middle of the arena, on the big husky dog, the whole Gamble Pavilion is singing along with me.
What a rush.
Unbelievable. I get off, I'm just like, I can't drive. I'm walking around, but
I mean, how do you wake up the next day and you have to do normal things like go get the mail and wash the
Honest
dishes
to
and all that?
goodness, It's so true, though. But it stays long with you. It really does. It, especially for Fenway Park. That's a huge thing.
Tell us about that.
Yes.
I mean, at the time we were taping this broadcast, the Red Sox were on a major roll, 14 wins in a row
Honestly.
at press time.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what they're doing right now, but still to sing at Fenway Park, the Green Monster and all that. I mean, come on.
I have
what was
5
that like?
appearances that I'm so proud of because they're over a 20-year period, you know. So when you get to sing at Fenway Park, it's an honor. It's such a privilege, you know. But for a long time, I told my husband, Jimmy, of 36 years this year.
Happy anniversary. Hey,
Thank
Jimmy.
you, thank you. Hi, Jimmy. That I was going to sing for them one day, you know, and that's really kind of a far out idea for most people. But I did. The Boston Red Sox called me on St. Patty's Day in 2004.
The luck of the Irish.
The year they
Isn't
won
that
the World
something?
Series. They won the World Series that year,
Really?
yes. And I opened the season for them against the New York Yankees. My first time ever at Fenway Park.
Yankee fan here.
my word, okay.
Now, let me
Sorry.
ask you this. Did you have an encounter with any of the players? Did any of them ever come up and say, like, wow, that was really good?
Well, the people in the audience did,
Right.
you know, but
But did you have a chance to actually get up and close to any of the players at all?
if you wanted to, you probably could. I wasn't really that.
You weren't into it that way.
Well, yeah, no. I was so excited just to be able to
But
be
Karen,
there.
I have to ask you this because I always hear so many celebrities say they're so afraid. They're afraid of
Yes.
messing up the words and they get nervous. How did you feel?
Well, most of the time, you were not allowed to sing it live. You had to have an undertrack. So that because the timing, especially at Fenway being such an old facility, there was like almost a 3-second time delay.
I see.
Just under 3
Yeah.
seconds. So
Yeah.
by the time you finish your first phrase, it's just coming out of the microphone as you're going into your second phrase.
Right.
So the timing really just really messes you up badly. So they always required a track. But then I tried to convince Fenway Park because doing it live, especially for video, you can see when it triggers. Because up in the booth, I didn't know when the track was actually going to start. So you could see that little bit of a hesitation beforehand. So, but it was so old and just the system needed to be upgraded. So they did upgrade it. And then I have footage on YouTube now. That was the first live performance.
So
on
you're
it.
singing live?
Yes, no track underneath me. I convinced them to let me
Yeah,
do
all
that.
right, yeah.
And I was so
Wow.
psyched because all the big guys, you know, it was just, that's the thing you had to do because you don't want to mess up the national anthem no matter what you do, you know?
You know what, Joyce?
Yeah.
I'm listening to Karen right now. She should be our new agent.
Yes.
Yeah, we,
yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
we need a really
We
good
need an
agent.
Yes, yes.
It's all about who you know, right?
Yes.
It's not
Sure
about how
is.
good you are, but who you know in the business, you
Yes.
know?
Yes.
But
yes.
I've always kind of said to myself, if I can't do it the way I want to, then I don't want to do it at all, you know?
Where did
It
that
was-
come from? Was that for your mom or dad, you think?
Oh gosh, I think both, really.
yeah?
Honestly, both of them. They just always supported my music, no matter what.
Could they sing?
My mom could sing.
So you got
She
that
just loved to
from your mom.
bebop around. Her favorite song is Suds in the Bucket by
Oh,
Sarah
Sarah
Evans.
Evans.
So I'm coming here listening to that full blast on
Wow.
my radio, you know.
yeah.
And then usually in my set, I always do Johnny Be Good.
And Chuck Berry.
I love it so much. It brings me, that's my dad,
Yeah.
you know, was John. And when I hear that and get to sing it on stage, it's almost like I fall into this familiarity with he's with me and I'm going to have a great show,
Oh,
you
I
know?
love
So the
that.
music is really what pumps me up to get me going. Especially if I'm sad or in a bad place or whatever, turn on some Jason Aldean, you know, with Rich Redmond playing in the background.
Yeah, tell us a little bit
You
about
know?
that because a lot of people, you know, watching and listening right now, I'm sure they know Jason Aldean's name, one of the biggest superstars in music, all different genres. I mean, people know him all across the genres. Rich Redmond, great drummer. Had a chance to meet him, a Connecticut guy.
Connecticut.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Connecticut's own.
Yes.
And now you've actually been doing a lot of marketing to help these people as well over the years, haven't
Well,
you?
it's
To a
more-
point. To a point.
Yeah, I think it's more of a welcoming type of a thing because, you know, when these guys are on tour, it's really a brutal thing because it's city to city.
There's
to
nothing
city.
sexy about being on tour,
No,
is there?
not really. People think that it is, but it's not. So I just always wanted to welcome the drumming community to Connecticut when they came to just kind of like get all of the people who love to drum or some of the high school kids who need some
So
incentive.
why the drumming community?
Well, for me, it was just that, you know, Rich had just put out a book where he basically tailors it towards a younger audience, mostly kids in school. It was fundamentals of drumming. And it encouraged the kids to get out and pick up an instrument because music is such a huge benefit, a super positive charge for these children to feel those vibrational notes in a saxophone, in a guitar, and in this case, it was in a drum.
Right.
So when I reached out to Mr. Redmond, he accepted my idea because he was an educator. You know, he graduated.
He's a great motivational speaker.
Super motivational speaker. And I just said, I could do that, and I could maybe host him and make him feel welcome back here in Connecticut, while he's on tour.
And Joyce, she's done the same thing with Rascal Flatts and also Florida Georgia Line, and
Mr. Redmond had introduced me to Mr. Riley from Rascal
that's how
Flatts.
formal she is, Mr.
Yes.
Mr. Redmond and Mr. Riley.
It's respectful,
She's respectful,
to be
yes.
in the position that I get to be in because it's such an exciting thing to be able to see an 80-year-old man who's still drumming coming to the clinic, a youngster who is 7 years old, 8 years old, getting up on that drum kit with Rich, and with Sean and Mr. Riley. They're all clinicians, but it was just it was a very weird thing how it happened, but I'm so glad that it did because just being able to do this has really enriched my life.
And just to backtrack a little bit, I'm so glad you stopped calling me Mr. Seville. I should be calling me Mr. Seville right up to showtime today, Mr. Seville.
Yeah. Well, again, my folks, just really instilled a kind of old-fashioned way in me where you always have to show
I think it's
respect.
admirable. I I
Thank
really
you
do.
so much,
I do.
John. Yes, thank you.
So tell us about, going back to the car accident. I mean, that
Yeah,
could have
so
derailed
John
everything, right,
mentioned that,
Joyce?
but I don't know much about it.
Sure.
So how long ago was that?
It was 1993, actually.
Wow.
December 22nd.
33 years ago.
33 years. Wow. I'm just knowing that now.
And I understand it was a very, very bad accident.
It was pretty bad. And as I've gone through life now, 33 years, as you just mentioned, right? I didn't want it to I didn't want that to be my identity.
Yes. Yeah.
And because the first thing that you want to tell people is how much you're hurting, but you have to hold that in and put that smile on. And as they say, the show must go on, right?
Yes.
So I really just tried to focus on being a mom. And so I wrote out to different people like NASCAR and, the guys that jump, not the motocross, but the...
I know who you mean.
You know what I
can't
mean?
remember,
The grave diggers in it.
yeah. The grave digger, yeah.
Monster Jam.
Monster
Jam.
Monster Jam.
Gosh. So we did Monster Jam for like 5-6 years in Hartford, where we would rent a hotel overnight, and my girls would come and they'd bring their friends. And some of the drivers, they treated me so nicely, and they would come up, and one of the guys gave our kids the flag, the big flag,
Yeah.
So the kids loved it because we could go to these things, and they would just sponsor me to go, and we would have a blast, and it didn't cost us any money really, as long as I sang.
As long as you, so wait, so you're in this horrific accident. Can you still sing? Are you like, what was that recuperation like?
Well, that was a tricky one. That was tricky. We lived in Hebron, so it was, I was part of the business association there. I sang at the Hebron Fair for so many great people. Ricky Skaggs, Kenny Chesney was one of the bills that I got to have at Hebron Fair.
Wow, that's a big deal.
Yeah, and Tammy Wynette.
Really?
I have a bill with Tammy Wynette. Wow. Yeah. And there was a few others, really great people, but at the time I was nursing Emma, so I wasn't really into wanting to meet anybody. I was loving being with my baby,
Sure.
So I did a couple shows, and then we got the tour bus, which was so much fun to be on, the tour bus, just throughout New England. But what a hoot that was to be able to, do those things, live out my dream, and still have my girls, which was just amazing.
But that may have never happened. I mean, that accident was just, 33 years ago. I mean, that could have just like I said, derailed everything for you.
Sure.
And the rehab must have been a long time.
Yeah, well, there were I think I want to say 8 surgeries on my back. So the spinal fusions take a little bit longer, to recover from. But I can remember it was just shortly after one of them. It was Kenny Chesney at the Gillette Stadium, and I had sung for the MLS there on the Major League Soccer teams maybe 3 times. I taught myself the Dutch anthem to be able to sing at Gillette Stadium in order to get.
Did you sing it in Dutch?
Yeah, I sang it in Dutch.
Wow.
Yeah. And the guy's
Of course she did.
Yeah, and the guy's like, oh, I said, well, do I have the job? And he said, well, I don't know anyone who's going to do it in Dutch. So you got the job.
Right.
And I was 8 months pregnant with Emma. I was so big like this, and I waddled out there. And the gentleman from it was the Ajax of Amsterdam, and the coach came over to me and took his pin off his lapel, and he gave it to me, and he said, "Thank you for singing our anthem in our language." He said, "Usually we get a recording of it, but I gave it my all.
Yeah.
I really did.
Knocked it out of the
I
park,
knocked it out of the
baby.
park." And so all the security at Gillette Stadium, okay, maybe some of them recognized me. This guy recognized me that night to go up to Kenny Chesney. And he said, "Do you want to watch the show from backstage, or do you want to watch it in a seat?"
Oh, jeez. Wow. Wow.
Right? So I'm like, geez, this is amazing. How does this happen? So I went by. I got through, couple checkpoints, but I had a credential that said I had opened for Kenny back here in Hartford. So, I kind of pushed the limit, the edge a little bit.
So when you say that you opened for people, are you opening always with the national anthem? Or are you actually singing other things?
Right. That's such a great question. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Thank you for that. But usually with the racetracks, like NASCAR, I sing a lot at Stafford Speedway. Those types of divisions, I sing just the national anthem. But for, doing shows at the Meadows or, Mohegan Sun, say, or, wherever, things like that, I would be hoping for national acts. This is back now 20 years ago, 25 years ago, because Emma is 29.
Now, when you're singing, you mentioned a lot of the country acts, but I know you do a lot of 80s, some of the 80s rockers, like a lot of the
Pat Benatar.
the Pat Benatar,
Right.
maybe some,
Pat Benatar.
maybe Patty Smythe and Scandal,
Yes.
and Joan Jett and the Heart, and a lot of the real.
Yes. Oh, totally.
Can I say this word? That badass female rockers.
Yes.
Right?
For sure they
Love
are.
it.
Feeling on stage is great,
Yeah.
but
Yes.
really what I try to do is take a song from each genre or each decade, because what I want, my whole job as the opening act is to get the audience ready for the guy coming out, the person
see.
coming out, and get them all rallied up, especially if the crowd participates
Yes.
with your song choices,
Yes.
right? So I do 7 songs. They know every single one of them. I'm getting them all rallied up.
Got to play the Warrior.
Well, the Warrior, yeah, that is a really good.
That's one of my faves.
Yeah, absolutely. But the crowd jumping in and hell yeah, hell yeah. People are having a good time.
Yeah.
That's what
Gretchen
we
Wilson,
want to
yep.
do, is open the show and have everybody just be so into it. And
They're
having
so-
people sing along with you does that.
Yes.
So when are we going to get you as a headliner?
Oh,
Get Kenny
gosh.
Chesney to open up for you.
I know, right?
So what if he's had
That's
62
dream,
top
Jen.
10 songs?
Right?
62 top
Well-
10 songs.
First of all, I have to say I'm blown away. You are such a force. You were such a positive
Yes.
Thank you
force.
so much.
So-
Don't make me cry, Joyce.
I may be the sage as
Thank
like
you.
Barbara Walters, who always make people cry.
Right,
No,
yep.
no, but you are.
Well-
so I would imagine, first of all, were you always that way? Did singing help you?
Oh
cope in
gosh,
life?
most definitely, absolutely. From being at a young age and being able to enjoy it, like I did. My folks drove me to Boston, to WBZ TV, where there was a community audition, was what it was called. And I was in elementary school at the time, and they were not only paying for my tuition at the school, but then they paid for us to go to Boston. And they didn't really have the money,
Yeah.
So we went, though, and they were so proud, and it was just amazing to be on television. And then we came back to Andover after they edited everything,
yeah.
too, and watched it at my Uncle Gene's house with everybody, because back then it was a big deal to have a VCR or, any kind of media that we could get from Boston.
Hey, Joyce, can I ask you something? What was a VCR?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. Now you sound like my grandson. Yes.
Honestly, that technology was just a huge thing.
It was a big deal back then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it all goes back to my parents, and
I just love the fact that your parents were so supportive
Yes.
of you.
oh my goodness. Well, all three of us girls,
Yeah.
But if you have that foundation, you don't really necessarily need money. Money helps, but they gave us such an incredible foundation for us to be able to believe in ourselves.
Yeah.
Isn't
And
that wonderful?
It
is.
And so I've
So
carried that all
important.
the way through, and now I'm proudly 55 and still not giving up on my dream.
Now you have to do Sammy Hagar's "I Can't Drive" 55. Yeah.
The rock and roll stuff really kind of gets you going.
It does.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
So I get
Yeah.
I get excited when I get to do my music and be part of really any musical scene. I was able to go to Nashville last year for the very first time in my life, which was such an incredible
It's been that your
experience.
first time in your
My
life?
whole life.
Really?
Yeah.
Last year?
Last year, yes. I went down for a charity event. It was Sean Fuller's charity event for his little girl.
Great drummer for Florida Georgia Line and Tyler Hubbard.
Yes, and Rich put the whole thing together. Was part of that. He
Yeah.
emceed
Rich
it
Redmond,
and
a Connecticut
whatnot.
drummer.
Yep. And so he was there. It was a pretty amazing event. And I said how wonderful it was that I was able to go down there supporting such an incredible family and such a huge charity thing to be a part of, for my very first time. Like it was meant to be that way, I believe. When you get to go and see someone else and she's doing really, really
Oh,
good.
God, he's awesome.
Knock on wood.
yes.
She's doing amazing. So to be part of that for the very first time in Nashville was just a dream come true in a sense. So I pray every day for Cora and for their family because it's really difficult when you are in the musical industry and your child gets sick, So, but positive energy, prayer. I mean,
Yes.
the whole power of prayer is huge.
Absolutely.
So we all
Absolutely.
rally together, So yeah. It was
So what's next for you? I mean, you've got such boundless energy. You have so many different directions you can go in. Where do you see yourself? Because I know you like to manifest things.
I do.
What are you manifesting right
do.
now?
Well, I have one song that I've been working on for about 25 years, and my best friend from elementary school, Jenny Castles, and her husband.
Hey, Jenny.
Yeah, they own Village Springs Water. They're one of my sponsors, and every time I need water for any of my shows, they always
Now, where are
drop
they
me
out?
10 cases,
Where
20
are they,
cases.
Where are they from?
Wellington.
Wellington,
right in
Connecticut.
Wellington.
Okay.
Yep. And she's been my best friend since first grade, always supporting my music, our music. And she introduced me to a gentleman who I co-wrote this song with. It's all based on my husband and I's, marriage and wishing for him as a teenager or a young child, hoping to meet the love of my life and then actually do is a blessing. So this song wraps all around our love and, what it means to me or what it means to us.
What
to
a
be
gift
able
to your husband, though,
to
too.
share.
a
He's very supportive. My husband living with me, I've just been a crazy person to get this far.
Yeah.
He's a saint, really. But so I'm really excited about being able to put it out there in the world. We're working on it in Nashville with a producer, and he
wonderful.
greenlit it for me
Yeah.
just a few months ago to work on.
So do you like writing? Like, do you have like a little catalog you're doing?
I only have really 2 songs that are my originals. It's hard to put out original music. People are very they take a step back. It's very difficult. So I like to do covers. I think it's fun. But I would love to see this song, be able to go somewhere
yes.
into the universe.
Can you imagine someone
Yeah.
picking that up?
Right?
and
Wouldn't it be
yes.
just amazing? I think it could be great for a movie.
Wow.
Or
Okay.
something along
Let's
those
put
lines.
it out there in the
And
universe.
you never know,
Yes.
right?
You hear that, Christopher Nolan?
Yes, yes.
Right? You never know. Music tells a story. It tells a story about your life and what you've experienced. And when you can put that out and people receive it,
Right.
It's a great feeling. It's
Well,
a
we
great
all
thing.
have that because, being in the radio industry, music's been part of my life. And Joyce has worked with Michael Bolton and Mariah Carey and a whole bunch of other,
I
great
was
stars
with them
over the
in
years.
studio when Michael was writing with Diane Warren and different things. But
I don't want to miss a thing.
No, people would always ask Michael, usually in an interview, is this all about your life experience? Like, and I remember he said once, if I lived everything that I wrote, I would be like crawling on glass. I wouldn't be able to stand up. Yeah. But he took from other people.
Sure.
And a little of yourself, I'm sure, But yes, because the stories are out there.
That's it.
Yeah.
Every picture tells a story. Everybody's got a story. There's stories everywhere.
Absolutely.
Every person you pass by has a story worthy of a song or a book or a movie.
It is so true.
Yeah.
But you're lucky. I always say I count my lucky stars for my life because I've had the best life so far at 55. I feel.
You got a long way to go, Karen.
Yeah, I know.
A long way to go.
Right?
Yeah.
We all say that. But I think if you pursue your dreams at your pace and don't push push it. If it's forced, I learned that lesson. It was like maybe 15 years that I was working on NASCAR because I wanted my cup race. I wanted my cup race to sing the national anthem because it was nationally televised. A lot of circuits, But I did the truck series and the Busch cars and every division. And every time I was docketed for national television at Dover, in Daytona for the motorcycles, Daytona 200, and in Loudon, 3 times I was knocked out of the spot by weather.
Oh, wow.
Like electrical storms, rain, pushed everything out till the following Monday, Tuesday, and nobody was
Well,
there.
I'm glad it didn't get in the way of you getting to the
Right?
studio today.
Right.
Right? No, exactly, because you just never know with the weather what it's going to happen. But
no.
I realized I was forcing it. I was wanting to do that so badly. And then I let it go, and I just said, if it's meant to happen, it will happen.
That's where the magic happens.
Yes,
when you let
and
it
then
go.
Sure enough,
Yeah.
I was able to meet Michael Myers on Fox. Wow. Yeah, I got to have my picture taken.
Whenever I
with
think of
him.
Michael Myers, I hear that I think of Halloween.
Well, that's
Well,
what
yeah.
I
Nightmare on Elm
talking
Street.
about.
What
I
was
was
that?
so excited. I was just, because Fox was there, and it was a big deal, to be able to sing the national anthem. And,
Yes.
But anyhow, that was a lesson to me to let things go.
Yes.
And not worry so much about it, because if you do that, your energy is almost in a resistance.
Yes.
Because you want
And then you
to-
attract more of that resistance,
Yes,
actually.
Joyce,
Yes.
exactly that, So I listened yesterday to the podcast, and I heard you say how in the morning it's so important to start off your day with your manifestation beliefs, or just telling yourself, or the tapping, that
Yes.
you do, Joyce. I do the same thing.
I learned that from John.
It's so good. Oh, it's so good. But telling yourself verbally out loud every day, I am successful. I am worthy.
Yes.
I am. What follows,
That's
I am.
Yep,
It's
exactly.
very important.
And positive, zero negativity.
It goes back to Moses. When Moses first met God, said, "Who do I say that you are?" Say that I am, that I am. So what we say after I am is very, very powerful.
Oh, for
It
sure.
very is. So first thing in the morning, we've got, like you said, we need to set that tone.
Yes.
But Karen, this has been an absolute blast having you here on What's Good with John and
so
Joyce.
much.
You are just sunshine in that cup. You are.
It's incredible to be here, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
You're going to give us a little, maybe a couple lines of an a cappella, maybe to kind of send us out?
Well,
Think of something.
you think, I was thinking that today, you had me do tomorrow, but that's fine. Like,
But that's such a recognizable
I know,
song.
right? We said we were just going to be off the cuff. And
So long, goodbye.
Yeah, give us something.
That's funny that
Like
you
the
say
Mickey
that, 'cause
Mouse.
That was
The
my
Mickey Mouse. Now it's
that was
time
my
to say
mom's
goodbye.
favorite show.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
The
Julie
Sound of
Andrews,
Music.
The Sound
Yes,
of
yes,
Music.
yes.
Let's see.
Now, love. Don't make me sing. Honk, honk.
What am I thinking of? Geez, I know we've got to go. I don't want to hold you up either. I'm so excited and to be here.
You know what? We put her on the spot.
just
Well, maybe that'd be an
drawing
episode
a
in the
blank,
future.
so please.
When she comes back as a national recording artist. When Kenny Chesney's opening up for Karen.
Or when her song is a hit in the movie.
Exactly.
yeah.
That's right.
So I'm crazy in love. I'm downright crazy in love. I'm crazy in love with you. Oh.
Now that was worth waiting for. I love it.
And then the drums go, bum, 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 bum. It feels so good.
Well, this is where we say goodbye till next time. We love you. God bless you and your family. And Karen, thank you. And thank you for tuning in to What's Good with John and Joyce. Till next time.
Thank you.
Hey, I heard you got engaged. Congratulations. Now it's time to book the DJ. And that's where we come in. I'm John Cadillac Seville with John Seville Entertainment, Wedding Wire, and the Knot 2026 Couples Choice Awards winner. You can call me directly if you like at 203-988-0658. We'll set up your free consultation. Or go to johncaddyman.com. That's 203-988-0658 or johncaddyman.com. We offer excellence, peace of mind, and a great time for all. John Seville Entertainment, a name you know and can trust.